Confucius, have you ever been bullied? Have you ever been bullied? It's a horrible feeling when somebody bullies you, and there are several reasons why it really gets magnified. And I want to break down why people bully, why a lot of bullies get away with bullying, and how does that impact us in the workplace and in everyday life. Forget being a child who's being bullied, it happens in adulthood. And of course, the consummate bully is the narcissist. Welcome to the Sigma Empath Podcast. This is the rant edition. My name is Vital Germaine. I'm a life coach, 7-time author. Today, we are going to talk about bullying in all its facets. Welcome to the show. Here's the definition of bullying. It's the repetitive, intentional hurting of one person or group by another person or group where the relationship involves an imbalance of power. Bullying can be physical, verbal, or psychological. It can happen face-to-face or online. This is from the Anti-Bullying Alliance. That's their definition of bullying. Let me know in the comments, have you experienced bullying? What was the psychological impact that you had? And the reason why I asked this question for you to share is for the benefit of the community. When other people see that they weren't the only ones being bullied, that they're going to understand, oh, somebody else went through this. Oh, I felt that too. It elevates and it empowers people. It helps them on their journey of recovery because it leaves some very deep psychological scars. I want to get into the social aspect. Here it talked about it can be an individual or it can be a group. And bullies often get away with it, which just adds insult, injury. They bully, they take advantage, they belittle, and they get away with it. And what makes it worse is that oftentimes the victim of being bullied, should they choose to retaliate, all of a sudden they become the victim. And I want to break down that psychology as to why that happens. Why do bullies get away with it? Let's talk about the emotional consequences of being bullied. And where does bullying stem from? What is the psychological foundation as to why bullies become bullies? By the way, here's an interesting statistic about bullying in school. 13 million students will be bullied in the United States this year. That's 1 in 4 students will be bullied, and 1 in 3 will be cyberbullied. If you're on social media a lot, you might potentially experience a form of bullying when people insult you or make some mean, negative comment. That is a form of bullying. But I didn't know that 1 in 4 children are bullied. Research shows that in over half of bullying situations, 50%, when someone intervenes, the bullying stops within 10 seconds. And that's key. When someone intervenes, the bullying stops within 10 seconds. The problem is, people are afraid to intervene, including the teachers and principals who, strangely enough, I don't know if they do it intentionally, but oftentimes bullied is somewhat protected. And also there's the parents. Sometimes a kid gets bullied and they try and tell their parents, and their parents maybe won't believe it. Oh, come on, Billy's such a nice kid. He would never do that. Excuse me? You're talking to your child. Believe your child. That instills it's a form of gaslighting. Let me know, were you bullied as a child? Let's just begin with childhood. Were you bullied as a child? And then I want to quickly bring it into the workplace. We all have that toxic boss. We've all worked in toxic cultures where we've got some a-hole of a manager who bullies us. People quit the boss more than they quit their job. People quit bosses more than they quit jobs. A bully boss will make your life absolutely miserable. Let me know, have you experienced a bully boss? Did you quit? Did you stick it out? If you did, how did you stick it out? What was your strategy to overcome, minimize the degradation, the psychological wounds of being bullied by a boss in the workplace? We spend so much time in the workplace. Gallup did a survey in terms of poor leadership and unhappiness in the workplace. They surveyed 25 million employees, part-time and full-time, in 189 different countries. And this is what they concluded. they concluded that 1 in 2 employees are not happy, and it's all based on a boss. Have you worked with a bad boss? Type in their name, type in their address. I know a guy who knows a guy. We'll take care of this. But bullying is horrible. So why do bullies get away with it? A part of it is, and I'm going to go deep on a social, historical tangent. Let me know your thoughts. I have my opinions, doesn't mean it's science. I invite debate. We are in a system that is built on imperialism. It's a colonial mindset, capitalism. I'm not against capitalism, but we live in a capitalist society that is built on domination and exploitation. And the only way to dominate and exploit is after you have to insert authority. That's literally what the Western world is built on, and it's enabled many nations to be great. The sun never sets on the English empire, they used to say. I never really understood that until years later when I realized because they have colonies everywhere in the world, no matter where you are in the world, the sun will be shining in one of those places because they have dominated, exploited so much. So we live in a highly imperialistic, colonialized mindset where the dominant people are rewarded, the go-getters, the hungry ones, the motivated people. And going back to the workplace, if you look at the workplace, those usually toxic managers, toxic bosses are the go-getters. They keep people in line. And this is actually good for the company. You keep people in line, you push people. If they don't work at the right level of productivity, you're going to stamp on them and you're going to insult them and make them feel small so that they step it up. Those type of bullies, unfortunately, bring value to economics. So they're rewarded. Oftentimes those A-type personalities, those toxic male, particularly the male patriarchal society, but we also have female bullies, let's be honest. So due to that, those typical dominant A-type, toxic, patriarchal, misogynistic men are rewarded. And so when somebody tries to speak up against this toxic boss, let's go back to the definition where it said about power. Right, it said about power. Bullying was based on a group by another person or a group, and it's based on an imbalance of power. So think of that boss. They have power over you, so they can undermine you. And should you speak up, two things happen. This is why people tend to not speak up against the bully. Nobody likes a snitch. Nobody likes the rat. So if you speak up, your colleagues now maybe not going to trust you because maybe you're going to speak up against them. If you speak up, you will need potentially to go to HR. HR isn't there for you. HR is there for the interest of the company. If you will look like a troublemaker, going back to something that I said, when the victim speaks out or speaks up, they become the villain because they are now causing a stink. I recently posted a reel that compared the difference between peace and liberation. So as long as you're submissive and you go along with what the bully tells you to do, there is peace because you're not creating a conflict. They get what they want, you're keeping quiet. There is peace, but that's not healthy. And so the focus is not peace, the focus is liberation. And so in order to feel a sense of liberation, one must speak up. We must confront the bully. And we must, going back to the 10 seconds, if we did that within the first 10 seconds, bullying would stop right there. So imagine in the workplace, that bad boss, you speak up and everybody sides with you, sticks up for you, and puts that manipulative, narcissistic, A-type a-hole in their place, the bullying stops immediately. But again, unfortunately, we reward, society rewards the go-getter. So another reason why bullies get away with it is, if you're a decent person, not even a good person, let's just say you're a decent person with some relatively good moral values, right? And somebody treats you badly, we encourage people to take the high road. We tell people, oh, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's more about them. So basically what we're saying is, don't get involved. Let them be them. It's their problem. Meanwhile, the bullying is happening. So there's this strange social, what's the word I'm looking for? This strange social hypnosis that when we're treated badly, we're supposed to be bigger than and walk away and take the high ground, take the high road, which enables, going back to the 10 seconds, if we stop this mentality of I'm going to be bigger than that, I'm going to walk away, I'm not going to take it personally, it's about you, hurt people, you must have had a troubled childhood, it's your trauma, it's your fear, you're taking it out on me, I'm putting all the blame on you, but you know what, I'm better than that, so I'm going to walk away. This means the bully has zero accountability, zero responsibility, zero consequence to the bullying. And so they get away with it. Whereas, again, 10 seconds, if somebody stepped in, if you stood up to the bully, punched them in the nose, I don't condone physical violence, but just for the sake of humor, punch them on the nose. Put them back in their place. Don't necessarily have to take the high ground. You don't need to be on their level. But put them in their place, find the courage to step up, and hopefully you'll have people around you who will defend and support you in your courageous act of telling the bully, this is not acceptable and I will not allow it. And if I have to, dear bully, I will stoop to your levels and it will get nasty. I will get medieval on your bum, so bloody watch out. You know what I mean? Bullying. 1 in 4 kids. It's a very, very painful thing. We have to shift this mindset. That's the only way where we're going to stop bullying. Hold them accountable. I have this dilemma on social media. I promote empathy. That's my thing. And empathy is associated with gentleness and forgiveness and understanding. And yes, I am those things up until I'm not. And this is what I've learned on my journey of empowerment. If you're going to belittle me and disrespect me, I will give you one chance. I will forgive you once. I will give you that wiggle room. But if you don't heed the respectful warning, I will call you out publicly and I will put you in your place. And that's what we need to start doing more of collectively. A group of people. We need to collectively, as a group, as a community, as the village, particularly with other empaths, with other INFJs or variations of the INFJ or other forms of neurodivergent. We need to collectively come together and almost like an unspoken army, you mess with one of us, be ready to receive the wrath of the empath. It's time to put an end to bullying. And each journey of change, of civil activism, always begins with an individual. It's where it always begins. In closing, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world.